This will be the GG33 class video on the number 1. Let's get started. People born on the 1st, 10th, 19th, 28th, or people who are one life paths in total. They are the ones with male energy. Again, it does not matter if it's a woman born in the 1st or a man born in the 1st. They will think like a man because they are full of male energy. As a matter of fact, most of the self-made women in this world, Sheryl Sandberg, Jessica Alba, again, born on the 28th number of wealth, true, but they are self-made. And most of the women who are in positions of power tend to be one life paths. If you just take out the astrology, again, you'll have some dragons in there, you'll have some tigers in there, but mostly it is one life paths when it comes down to women who are in positions of power. Ones are extremely aggressive. One has a very aggressive nature. So let's go back to the vowels. Aggression, aggressive, starts with the A. A is the first letter. Again, goes back to the one energy. When it comes down to people who are ones, they tend to be very athletic. Again, athletic A. LeBron James, ring a bell? One life path, look at him. When it comes down to people who are ones, they argue for sport. Sometimes they do it for a living. Again, argue starts with A. Who argues for a living? Attorneys and lawyers. Again, first vowel in both, A. And again, what do? They argue the law. So again, you see how the numerology and the letters coincide. When it comes down to people who are one life paths, one of the biggest problems they have is they learn things the hard way. See, ones always think they can outsmart everybody. Ones always think they can crack all the codes. And basically, what it comes down to is people who are one life paths are so stubborn, yes, stubborn, that they always want to do things themselves, their own way, and sometimes it costs them. And yes, people who are one life paths learn things the hard way. They don't take advice too well. They give advice, they just don't take it too well. When it comes down to people who are ones, they are enemies with the number 9. Their 1 and 9 is the worst combination in all of numerology. Hell, you can throw in astrology. There is no worse combination. Example, LeBron James is a one life path. Dude don't play too well on 9 days. LeBron James is just one of many examples of ones and nines that don't do well. Steve Jobs was a one life path. He married a 9. He died of cancer, and the 9 has all his money now. Wasn't a happy relationship even when he was alive. Ones and nines are not the best. Again, that those are enemy numbers. It is what it is. 1 is a very aggressive energy. 9 is a very passive energy. 9 is the diplomat. 1 is the warrior. It is what it is. When it comes down to people who are ones, the 8 always looks after the 1. I want to repeat, the 8 always looks after the 1. And what do I mean by this? Through me giving readings, I would say about 20,000 throughout the years. What I've realized is a lot of times you'll have old men who are 8s taking care of their young one girlfriends or fitness model girls, or the vice versa, old women who are taking care of their boy toys. And the thing is, 8s are extremely attracted to muscle and ones have them. So from a physical standpoint, that's where it comes from. It doesn't always have to be physical though. A lot of guys who are 8s will help ones. A lot of women who are 8s will help one women. Um, I have a student who's a UFC fighter, and all her friends are ones. Excuse me, all her friends are 8s. But you always ask me how come they don't like each other. Well, if you guys remember the rooster video, roosters and roosters don't get along, and when it comes down to numbers, same effect with the number 8. 8 and 8 does not get along. But we'll talk about more about this when we talk about the number 8. When it comes down to people who are ones, again, remember, that the 8 will always help the 1, whether it's a sexual relationship, whether it's just a friendship. 8s don't really help anyone, but they always want to help 1s. It's just the way of the matrix. And always remember, it's a one-way street. It's not like the 1's going to look out the same way for the 8. On the negative side of 1s, they can be alcoholics. Sometimes, they have trouble with the bottle. And again, alcohol starts with the A, so you see my point. When it comes down to people who are 1s, they are in a 1-4-7 triangle. Again, 1-4-7 triangle. When it comes down to 1s, another thing you always understand about them is they're going to do things their way. At least at the very beginning. They're too stubborn not to. It is what it is. When it comes down to people with the 1 energy, always expect people like that to be more independent than most people. Always expect people like that to have people following them. Because again, 1 is the number of leadership. Doesn't matter if it's a man or a woman, that it is what it is. When it comes down to 1s, they do very well with 11s, especially in sports. Michael Jordan in the 11 life path didn't win any championships until Scottie Pippen, the 1 life path, was there. LeBron James didn't win any championships without an 11. Again, LeBron James is a 1. He won championships with Dwayne Wade and Kyrie Irving, both 11 life paths. And lastly, Shaquille O'Neal is a 1. Kobe Bryant was a horse. Kobe Bryant was an 11. Even though Shaq was a rat and Kobe was a horse and they didn't like each other, the 1, Shaq, and the 11 won championships together. Not to mention that Shaq, the 1, won a championship with Dwayne Wade, again, an 11. So when it comes down to sports or anything else, 1s and 11s do extremely well together. So, to recap, the 1s are extremely aggressive. 1 is male energy. A lot of times 1s tend to be capitalists. Again, first vowel in capitalism is A. So you see where I'm coming from that angle. 1 and 9 are enemies. The 8 always looks after the 1. The 1 is a 1-4-7 triangle. And the last thing I'll tell you about the number 1 is they can get away with karmic debt more than most people. And again, karma, if you write the word on a piece of paper, it adds up to an 8. So again, the 8 looks after the 1, and the only 2 vowels in karma are both A. So when it comes down to it, if there's any number that can get away with any karmic energy, it will be the number 1. This has been the GG33 class video for the number 1.